Start. Good afternoon. Students, good afternoon. How many of you are there? Hello. Good afternoon. How many of you are there? Could you tell me your names? Okay, this is the AICTE sponsored PRERANA program 2021. And this is for the aspirants of CAT. This is CAT's aspirants coaching inauguration by our principal, Dr. Manjunatha. He is the principal of NHCE. And this is organized by Department of Information Science and Engineering. Program coordinator is Dr. Raj Anandi, who is the HOD ISC NHCE. So welcome to the program. Are you all ready? Okay, there is just one student.
Yes, ma'am. Ready, ma'am.
Ready? Okay, so I want you to have some book and pen with you, Naveen. And yeah, why don't you enable your camera? Why don't you enable your camera? No? Naveen, can you enable your camera? Okay. Fine. Are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, which stream are you from?
No, automobile, ma'am.
Automobile, were you? No, okay, then I wasn't your teacher. Fine. Great. See, today we are going to discuss something which is called as SVA, Subject Verb Agreement. So do you have any idea about it? What exactly is Subject Verb Agreement?
Subject verbal ability.
No, it is called as, see, I'll type it here in the chat. You can understand. It is called Subject Verb Agreement. What do you mean by this? What exactly do you understand by this? Subject verb agreement. Do you have any idea of this?
It's part of sentence, ma'am.
Part of sentence. Okay. See, look here. When you form a sentence in English, what are the essential parts of a sentence?
Noun, verb.
No. That is parts of speech. When you have a sentence,
Yes, ma'am.
so there is a subject, there's a verb, and there is an object.
Yes, ma'am.
What exactly do you mean by subject?
About what we are talking.
That is object. The person who is actually doing something is called as the subject. For example, if Sunita is teaching today, Sunita is the subject. Understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Sunita is teaching verbal ability. Sunita teaching. Teaching is the verb and verbal ability is the object. Yes, Sunita is teaching verbal ability. So that is called as a sentence. So what are the essential parts of the sentence here?
Subject, verb, objective.
Okay. Now, see, what's your mother tongue?
Huh?
What's your mother tongue?
Kannada.
Kannada. So in Kannada, we do have something called as subject verb agreement, which all of us know. We don't have to teach that. For example, I'll give you a couple of Kannada sentences and you tell me how the verb has to be. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Avalu, patha, madu, what?
Madutiddalo.
Maduttiddalo, maduttidale, something. Okay. Avanu, avanu patha,
ಮಾಡುತ್ತಿದ್ದಾನೆ.
ಮಾಡುತ್ತಿದ್ದಾನೆ. Avaru patha.
ಮಾಡುತ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ.
Why this difference of le, ne, and re?
Singular, plural, ma'am.
Singular, plural. This is something we have to understand in English as well. There is a subject. See, in the Kannada sentence which you just now spoke, avanu, avalu, avru are the subject. Okay, right? Do you understand? Maduttiddale, maduttiddane, maduttidare, that is the verb. And there is an agreement between them. If the subject is plural, the verb is also plural. And if the subject is singular, the verb is also singular. This is called as subject-verb agreement, which we are going to learn in English. Understand? Now, why this itself has become a topic? Because there is something called as simple present tense in English. What do you mean by simple present tense? What exactly do we discuss in simple present tense? I think this was a part of your first session.
Yes, ma'am.
What do we understand by simple present tense?
Talking about presenting.
See, something which is a truth. You are talking about a truth or something that has been happening for a long time. Okay, right? So, like for example, we say the sun rises in the east. Naveen travels to college in a bus, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So these are certain things. Naveen studies automobile engineering. Am I right? So these are certain things which have been happening for a period of time, for a longer period of time, which is in a continuance. And then there are certain truths that we speak about, like the sun rising in the east. Does it change? Does it
No.
change? It doesn't change.
No.
It doesn't change. Yes, is it not? So when we talk about such things, it is not a continuous tense. It is a simple present tense. And then there are certain rules that have to be followed under simple present tense. I hope you know this difference. There's some people, in a colloquial language, you can call it as S rule. I don't know if you are familiar with it. For example, if I say Naveen writes, okay?
Yes.
Naveen writes. Naveen and Praveen write.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. When I say Naveen, there is only one person. Subject is singular.
Singular.
But if it is simple present tense, I add S to the verb.
Yes,
But when
ma'am.
I'm talking about Naveen and Praveen, they are two people, that is plural. But I still do not add S to the verb. I just say Naveen and Praveen write. So what is this? Why this difference? This is the rule of simple present tense where if the subject is singular, we add S to the verb. Okay. If this is only and only in case of simple present tense, not otherwise.
Yes,
If
ma'am.
it is simple continuous tense, then I say Naveen is writing. So there the question of S does not appear at all. Whether it is one person or 10 people, it will still remain the same and it will be writing. For example, I say Naveen is writing, Naveen and Praveen are writing. Many people are writing, it doesn't change at all. Understand? But there is a helping verb that changes. We will talk about it later. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
This S gets added when in simple present tense there is no helping verb. What do you mean by helping verb by the way, Navi?
Like helping to pronounce, ma'am. Adding one extra word.
See, a helping verb is something called as, you have been using is, are, was, were, has, have, can. All these are called as helping verbs.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Right?
Yes,
So
ma'am.
this adds to the verb actually, not exactly an adverb, but then this is an extra verb or an auxiliary verb. You can also call it as helping verb or auxiliary verb.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So
Yes, ma'am.
what we do is, see, I'm typing here. I say Naveen writes. Now, this difference is only and only in the case of simple present tense, not in the case of present continuous, not in the case of present perfect tense. It is only and only in the case of simple present tense. So, Naveen writes. Okay. Then we also have Naveen. No, let me type here. Naveen and Naveen right. Okay. Now, in the first sentence, is the subject singular or plural?
Singular.
Now, in the second sentence, the subject is singular or plural?
Plural.
Plural. Now, both the sentences are simple present tense. Okay, it is not continuous tense, it is simple present tense, where in case of singular subject, we add s to the verb, and in case of plural, we do not add s to the verb. Can you give a couple of examples like this?
Uh, Rama and Sita play football.
Okay,
Rama plays football.
very good, beautiful. You understood it very good.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
good. Now, before going to subject verb agreement, I would like to emphasize on this and then go to subject verb agreement. Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
let us say we are using helping verb has. Okay. um, or say do and does. Okay, we are also using do and does.
And us.
Now this rule also applies only and only in case of third person singular, not in first person and second person. First person is I and we. Second person is you and you are. We are not worried about that. We are only worried about third person. Third person is he, she, it, and they. Okay.
Okay.
He works. He works, right? We can also say he does his work. Now compare these two sentences and tell me, has the subject changed from singular to plural? Look at these two sentences. What is the subject?
He is the
He is
subject.
the subject. In both the sentences, it remains the same. Am I right?
Yes, ma'am.
Has it changed from singular to plural?
No, ma'am.
But why have I not added s to the verb work? He works is correct.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely
He
correct.
does his work is also correct.
Yes, it's
Okay?
correct.
Because now this work is the main verb and do and does become the helping verbs. Now, when the helping verb is ahead of the main verb and it takes the S form, you don't have to add it to the main.
Okay, ma'am.
Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you give me an example like this?
Mm. And once again,
Okay.
ma'am, actually your volume is a little less, ma'am.
Can you hear me now?
Little more.
I have to shout. This is the maximum of my mic, maximum
Okay, ma'am.
tolerable.
Okay, ma'am. This is okay then.
This is okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. See, look here. There are two sentences that I have written there. One is he works. The second one is he does his work.
Yes, ma'am.
What is the subject in both the sentences?
He.
And has it been singular or has it been plural?
It is singular.
In both the sentences, it's singular.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. That means in the first sentence, I have added s to the verb, which is the rule.
Yes, ma'am.
But I have not added s to the verb in the second sentence. Why? Because in the second sentence, I have used a helping verb, which is does.
Yes, ma'am.
Actually, the helping verb is do in case of plural, but in the case of singular, it becomes does.
Okay, ma'am.
Because the helping verb has already taken the S form, there is no need for the main verb to take the S form. Do you understand now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, I am going to give you another sentence. Take a look at this carefully. What is the subject here? What is the word that denotes the subject?
They.
They. Now, they is first person, second person, or third person?
First person, ma'am.
No.
Second. I
No,
am speaking to you.
no. When we are talking about they, it is not you, it is not me, it is somebody else.
Okay, ma'am. So,
I,
third person.
I and we are first person. You is second person. He, she, it, and they are third person.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Now
Yes.
they is third person. Is that plural or singular?
Plural.
So here the helping verb that has been used is do and not does.
Yes, ma'am.
I cannot say does they do.
Yes,
No,
ma'am.
that is wrong. Does he do? Does he work?
Yes,
Does
ma'am.
she work? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
But do they work?
Yes,
Do
ma'am.
they run? Do they play? Am I clear, Navi?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I'll go forward. Now, this is one rule I want you to remember. Now I'm going to the subject verb agreement per se.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine.
Yes.
So shall we begin?
Yes, ma'am.
Just give me a couple of seconds to open my file so that I can share that with you.
Okay.
Here we are. Let me share it. Okay. Is it visible to you? Okay. Now, singular subjects need singular verbs. Plural subjects need plural verbs. My brother is a nutritionist. My sisters are mathematicians. These are two simple sentences. Now, when I read the sentence, my brother, the subject is singular, that is my brother. So I'm using a helping verb, which is singular, that is. But when I talk about my sisters, the subject is plural. And as such, I am using a helping verb that is plural, that is are.
Correct.
Agreed?
Yes, ma'am.
There is no confusion here. This is very
No,
simple. Now
yes.
I'm moving to the first rule of subject verb agreement. Okay? Now the first rule is like this. The indefinite pronouns anyone, everyone, someone, no one, nobody are always singular and therefore require singular verbs. Okay. Now, even before understanding this, let us understand something about pronoun. What is a pronoun?
Used in place of noun.
Is it not? When
Yes,
I say Naveen is in the class and
he
he
is in
is
the class.
taking down notes. In the second sentence, I do not again say Naveen, I say he. That is the pronoun that I'm using for you. Right?
Yes,
So
ma'am.
he is a pronoun and that is replacing the noun. Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, there are certain, when I say Naveen is in the class and he is writing down, this pronoun exactly denotes to Naveen. It does not denote anybody else.
Yes, ma'am.
So it is a definite pronoun. And if you say Sunita has started teaching, now she is sharing screen. When you
Yes,
use the pronoun she, you refer that to me, which means that is a definite pronoun.
yes, ma'am.
Agreed?
Yes, ma'am.
When I say anyone, yaro bro, everyone, ellaru, do we refer that to one particular and one specific person? So which means these are the indefinite pronouns.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Anyone, everyone, someone, no one, nobody. These are supposed to be considered always as singular, and therefore you need to use singular verbs with this. For example, everyone has done his or her homework. We cannot say the minute we say everyone, some people take that to be plural and they say everyone have, everyone do. No, it is everyone does, everyone is, everyone has.
Ma'am.
Everyone in the theater is silently watching the movie. You cannot say everyone are. Understand?
Understood, ma'am.
So everyone in the bus is asleep.
Yes, ma'am.
So when you say everyone, the verb that has to follow should be compulsorily singular. You cannot use a plural verb. In fact,
Yes, ma'am.
yesterday when I was traveling in the bus, one of my co-passengers was continuously using everyone, everybody with plural verbs. I actually wanted to correct, but then I was nobody. I could not, I did not have the right to correct. I did not correct. But today I'm correcting you. Whenever you have a subject that is an indefinite pronoun, an indefinite, what are the examples for indefinite pronoun? Anyone, everyone, someone, no
Nobody.
one, and nobody.
Mm.
You understand?
Yes, ma'am. Understood, ma'am.
So whenever you use these as the subject, then the verb that follows the subject has to be singular.
Ma'am.
Everyone has booked his or her seat. And another mistake that people make is when they say everyone, they also say they are. Everyone has booked their seats. It can't be. When we say everyone is singular, then it has to be his or her. It cannot be there. Arthata?
Yes,
It
ma'am.
may differ in Kannada, but when you are talking in English, you need to follow all these rules, and it's compulsory.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Somebody has left her purse. Somebody has left. You cannot say somebody has. Somebody is watching you. You cannot say somebody are watching you. Okay? Has and have. See, is a singular, are plural. Has singular, have plural. Do, I mean, does singular, do plural. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
So everyone has done his or her homework. Can you give me a couple of sentences in the same style?
They were playing cricket, ma'am.
See, that is a past tense, and we are not using an indefinite pronoun there. I want you to use an indefinite pronoun and give me the answer.
Everyone were watching cricket.
Now here, how can you say everyone were? I told you everyone is always singular. So what should it be?
Everyone was watching cricket.
Everyone was. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
You cannot say everyone were. The
So where
minute
is
we
used
use
for
every,
plural?
Inpa,
Where is used for plural, ma'am?
yes, was is singular, were is plural. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Huh. So the minute you see every, you tend to think, you get confused. You think it is plural, but no, it is not plural because it is an indefinite pronoun and it has to take a singular form. Okay? Okay. Now let us make one sentence with anyone.
Once more, what you asked, ma'am?
Let's make an example sentence with anyone. Anyone is the subject. Make a sentence. What is the equivalent word in Kannada for anyone?
Yaar bekadru.
Yaradru.
Yes, ma'am. Yaradru.
That normally appears in a question. So let us make a question.
Anyone can create a Google account.
Okay. Now, has anyone created?
As yes, ma'am. Correct, ma'am.
Is it not?
Anyone? Yes, ma'am.
You cannot say have anyone. It has to be has anyone.
Yes, ma'am.
Why? Why should it be has anyone?
As belong to singular.
Has is a singular verb, and anyone is an indefinite pronoun which has to be followed by a singular verb.
Yes, ma'am.
Your understanding?
Yes, ma'am.
Is there any doubt?
No, ma'am.
No? If you
No,
have
ma'am.
any doubt, please stop me and ask me.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So let's move on. Somebody has left her purse. So, okay. So let's make another sentence with somebody. Okay, I'll give you a sentence in a passive voice. You convert that into active voice. That will help you.
Okay.
This banana peel is thrown by somebody, has been thrown by somebody.
Somebody has thrown this banana peel.
Somebody has. You cannot say somebody have.
Yes, ma'am.
Right? Good.
Yes,
So you're perfect in this. Shall I move forward?
yes, ma'am.
No one, nobody. Make two sentences with no one and nobody.
Nobody has his book.
Nobody has. Nobody is responsible.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay? No one
Yes.
is interested in the class except Naveen. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, there are some other indefinite pronouns such as all and some. Now, they become singular or plural depending on what they are referring to. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Right? Now, when you use all or when you use some, then depending on what you are referring to, it will either be singular or plural. For example, some of the beads are missing. Some of the beads. What do you mean by that?
Only some. Not
Some,
every.
give me the equivalent word in Kannada.
Kalpa.
ಅಲ್ಲ ಕೆಲವು ಅಂತಾನೂ ಹೇಳ್ಬಹುದು ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತಾ
ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತು ma'am.
ಹಾ some of the beads are missing. What exactly do you mean by this?
Only a part of bits are missing.
It is not a part. See, when you have one single entity and when you take some part of it, you can say part of it. But when you have several beads, you say some of the beads. That means kelavu manigalu. That's it, huh?
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
So
Understood.
some of the beads are missing. Some of the students are not in the class.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Some of the fruits are small in size.
Yes, ma'am.
Now here I am referring to fruits, beads, students, which means I know that it is multiple in number and out of which some are. Say for example, I'm referring to 10 students and out of that I'm referring to 3 students. Some of them are not interested. Some of the students are not interested. Now when I say, but if I'm referring to only one, I can say one of the students is not interested. Out of the 10 students, if one is not interested, I can say one is not interested. But when I want to talk about more than one, then when I use some, then I have to say are because I'm referring to a number that is plural. Now, let us go to the next one. Some of the water is gone. Now, in a glass, you have some water. In this bottle, there is water. How many waters are there here? How many types of waters are there?
One type of water only will be there.
Stephanie, there's only water is just one entity. It is it is a, you cannot count that. You can
Yes,
only measure that. Right? So you say some of the water is gone. Some of the water is spilled.
yes,
Though it is some is common in both. So here, when we talk about beads, we are referring to countable nouns. When we are talking about water, it is non-countable noun. You cannot count that. So when you are using some with countable, you can use plural. But when you are using some with uncountable or non-countable, you say is. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಹಾಲುಗಳು ಕೊಡಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಕ್ಕಾಗತ್ತಾ?
ಇಲ್ಲ, ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಹಾಲು ಕೊಡಿ.
ಹಾ, ಬಟ್ 10 ಪ್ಯಾಕೆಟ್ ಹಾಲು ಕೊಡಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು. 10 ಪ್ಯಾಕೆಟ್ ಗಳು ಕೊಡಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು. You can say, I need 10 packets of milk. Right? But you have to say, I need some milk, some water. 10 bottles of water. 10 bottles of blood. Nobody
Yes,
gives. Okay. Is this first point clear? Can I move on to the second one?
No.
Is there any doubt?
No.
No doubt. Okay, thank you so much. So let's move on to the second one. Okay. Now, on the other hand, there is one indefinite pronoun, none, that can either be singular or plural. It often doesn't matter whether you use a singular or a plural verb. So with none, you can either use singular or plural. Both are correct. Okay. It depends on the situation. Whoever knows the situation will speak. Okay. Now move on to the second one. Some indefinite pronouns are particularly troublesome. Everyone and everybody. Now, everyone and everybody is always singular. Okay? Everyone and everybody always singular. When you use each, there again it has to be considered as singular, not as plural. Each of the students, you cannot say each of the student.
Yes,
if there is only one student, there is no point in saying each of the students. Only when there are more than one students, you say each of them.
Yes,
each one of them. Each of the students is responsible for doing his or her work in the library. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Right. Don't let the word students confuse you. We are not referring to the students. We are referring to one student or every student, not singularly, separately, not collectively. When we say each, we are not using a collective noun. We are using a, every student is separately taken. It's a different thing. Pratiyobba anta helbekare, we are not. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I think you are a bit confused. Are you? Should I repeat this?
I am understanding, ma'am.
You are understanding. If you have any doubt, you can ask me.
Yes,
can you make a couple of sentences using each and all?
Each and on. Okay.
Make a couple of sentences using all, or you can say everybody and anybody, everyone. Make 2 sentences each, and then for each also you make 2 sentences. Let me see. Let me check.
All of them were playing football.
Write down and then read them out. Write down. Is there another phone? Working fine. Take your time. Do not make any mistake.
Everyone, everybody, and another word?
Each.
Each. Shall I read the sentence, ma'am?
Please, please. Go ahead.
Everyone was shouting in the classroom.
Hmm.
Everyone was standing in the queue.
Hmm.
Everybody was cheering, watching the cricket. Everybody was watching movies silently.
Why don't you make it in present tense? Why are you always making it in past tense?
Can I read next sentence, ma'am?
Hmm.
Each and every penny is important.
Hmm.
Each and every student is a star.
Good. Okay. Now I'm going to the third rule. Right? When we use and between two nouns, like for example, I gave you in the very beginning Naveen and Praveen. When we use, we consider that to be plural, right? We are
Yes, ma'am.
talking of two things. So when it is two, it has to be plural.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, Sometimes people tend to use some phrases like together with, as well as, and along with. Now, these are not the same as and. And when you use a phrase like together with or as well as or along with between two subjects, it is to be considered as only one, that is singular. Why? Because it says, see, look at the example there. These phrases will only modify the earlier word. They say, the mayor is going to the prison. How is he going to the prison?
With his brother.
As well as his brothers. But when you use and, that becomes two. We are talking about the mayor as well as his brother.
Yes, ma'am.
So when we use as well as or together with or along with, it is supposed to be singular. It does not compound the subject. But when we use and, it compounds the subject. Let's make some sentences. Naveen along with Praveen is in the class. But Naveen and Praveen are in the class.
Yes, ma'am. Rama was together with Lakshmana, ma'am.
Rama together with Lakshmana went to the forest.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, he is in the forest.
Yes, ma'am.
Rama together with Lakshmana is in the forest.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Huh.
Rama as well as Lakshmana is in the forest.
Hmm.
And Rama
Along with
along with Sita went to the forest.
is in the forest.
He's in the forest.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Rama and Lakshmana.
But ma'am, Rama and Lakshmana are in the forest.
Okay. You understood the difference?
Yes, ma'am.
Very good. Now moving on. Fourth rule. Okay. The
Yes,
pronouns neither and either are singular and require singular verbs, even though they seem to be referring in a sense to two things.
ma'am.
Okay. Now we normally use neither and either with two things where you have to make a choice. Neither of the traffic lights is working. There are two traffic lights, 1 and 2. 1 is also not working, 2 is also not working. We are saying there are two, but separately we are referring to both of them, not collectively. We say neither of the two traffic lights is working. We cannot say are working.
Yes, ma'am.
Then which do you want for Christmas? Either is fine with me. Of these two shirts, which one do you want? Either is fine. You cannot say either are. Either is fine with me. Okay, Naveen, I want you to come out with a couple of examples here.
Kauravas were good people.
Pardon me?
Neither of the Kauravas were good people.
Was.
Was, yes ma'am, was.
Okay, one more sentence, please. Now see, this neither is used when you have two entities. So when you have multiple, you say none of them.
Yes ma'am.
Okay.
Yes ma'am.
Mm. Only when you have two entities, you can say neither. You cannot say neither when you have multiple entities. Please remember this and understand this.
Neither of my friends is selected.
Neither of the two friends is selected.
Is
Okay.
selected. Yes ma'am.
Then
Neither of my siblings are smart. Neither of my no ma'am. No.
okay, you can say if you have two siblings, you can say that.
Yes, yes.
Mhm. Then
Ma'am, like we should use the word two.
yeah.
Then neither of my two bikes is working.
Okay. Good. Okay. In formal writing, neither and either sometimes take a plural verb when these pronouns are followed by a prepositional phrase beginning with of. This is particularly true of interrogative constructions. Have either of you two? That is the only difference. When you are making an assertive sentence, it is singular. When it goes to an interrogative sentence where you are also using of,
What
that
is this asserted sentence, ma'am?
what is the
Asserted sentence, you said.
assertive? Assertive sentence is where you make a statement.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay.
Interrogative sentence is a question.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Okay.
Okay,
See,
ma'am.
here you are not using, see, it is not a question. Here it is a question. So, have either of you two clowns read the assignment? Are either of you? See, when we use you, it is always plural. Even if you are only one who is sitting in my class, I ask you, are you listening? I never ask you, is you listening?
Yes, ma'am.
How stupid it is when I say, is you listening?
Yes,
Is
ma'am.
it not? Are you listening? I
Yes.
don't say, has you done the homework? Do I say that? I say,
No.
have you done the homework? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Moving on to the next one. The fifth rule, the conjunction or does not conjoin when nor or is used. The subject closer to the verb determines the number of the verb. Okay. Whether the subject comes before or after the verb doesn't matter. The proximity determines the number. Okay, what do you mean by proximity? Proximity means how close it is to the other entity. Okay. Now, do you want a 5-minute break so that you can go through whatever you have learned so far so that I can go to the next one? I feel
Then go
that
to the next one, ma'am.
no, I'll give you 5 minutes. Just go through it and ask me if you have anything. If
Okay,
you
ma'am.
want me to scroll up, I will scroll. Tell me when I have to scroll them.
Ma'am,
Mm,
that neither was there, no, ma'am. In
mm.
that there we can use that singular helping word only for two persons. Suppose if there are three persons, then
Then we say none of them.
none of them. Okay,
We don't use neither.
okay, ma'am. Ma'am, can you scroll? Ma'am, scroll, ma'am. Ma'am, scroll. Ma'am, informal writing means we should not use neither and either in some official letters like that, ma'am.
Okay. Let's start with this one.
Yes, ma'am.
When nor or is used, the subject closer to the verb determines the number of the verb. Okay. Either my father or my brothers are going to sell the house. Now there are two subjects. One is father,
Father and brother.
brothers.
Brothers. Okay.
One of them is singular, one of them is plural.
Plural.
Now, if I say either my father or my brother dash going to sell the house,
Yes.
dash is the place where you have to write the verb. Which is closer to the verb? Proximity. Brothers is closer to the verb. There are two subjects. Which subject is closer to the verb there?
Yes, ma'am.
Brothers, is it not?
Yes, ma'am.
Father is around 3 words away. Brothers is just next to the verb.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay,
Now
ma'am.
it is not. You don't have to worry whether the subject comes before the verb or after the verb.
Yes, ma'am.
It is only the proximity that has to be kept in mind while you determine the number of the verb.
Okay, ma'am.
So here, because brothers is very close and it is plural, we are using are.
Yes, ma'am.
If it was either my brothers or my father, then what it would have been?
My brother, son, or my father is, ma'am.
Is it not?
Because singular is in the proximity.
Mm,
That's right. Yes, ma'am.
okay. Then neither my brothers nor my father dash going to sell the house. Is because father, the singular subject is closer.
Yes, ma'am.
Mm. Are either my brothers or my father responsible? Now, in the first two sentences, you had the verb after the subject. But in the next third and fourth, the verb is much earlier to the subject. So it doesn't matter whether the verb is before or after the subject. It is only the proximity that matters.
Ma'am.
Okay. Now,
Yes, ma'am.
either my brothers, right? Now,
Yes, ma'am.
brothers is much closer than father. Now, brothers is in plural, therefore you say are. And in the next one, father is closer, so you say is. Can you make a note of all these four? I want you
Yes,
to
ma'am. I have
take.
made, ma'am.
You've
I have
already
made.
made, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you give me a couple of sentences like this? For all the four, in all the four structures, I want you to give me sentences.
Yes, ma'am. I will give, ma'am.
Write down and then read.
Ma'am, why we are not using nor instead of or, ma'am?
See, when you use either, it has to be are.
Okay,
Okay.
okay, ma'am.
When you
Okay,
use neither, it has to be nor.
okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
See, in the second sentence, we are using nor.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Can I tell, ma'am?
Hmm.
Neither my friends nor my teacher is interested in programming.
Wait. Repeat.
Neither my friends
Hmm.
nor my teacher is interested in programming.
Why do you say is here? Can you give me an explanation?
Ma'am, teacher, single no, ma'am.
Yeah.
Singular.
And that is close to the
This thing, verb.
good.
Next is either my teacher or my friends are interested in programming.
Okay.
Or either my team members or myself responsible for project. Should I repeat, ma'am?
Hmm.
Or either my team members or myself responsible for project.
Is responsible.
What,
Am
ma'am?
responsible. See, the subject verb agreement has to be looked at from third person point of view.
Okay, ma'am.
So do not include the first person. Then it will be am.
So what I should write, ma'am?
So you select two third person nouns, subjects. Don't take myself.
Yes, ma'am. Myself only I said, ma'am.
Don't take that, take something else. If you take myself, it will be am. There is no is and are there. What is the helping verb for I? It is am.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh,
Ma'am, are either his team members or the team leader responsible for project?
is responsible.
Yes, ma'am.
You forgot the verb is. You never said that.
Ma'am.
Okay, then
Is either captain or team members are responsible for the game.
okay. Now let's move on.
Yes, ma'am.
The word there and here are never subjects. We normally use it, and people use it in a very stupid way. Why am I saying stupid? Because people ask, okay, is he there? That's how people ask, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And do people ask, is he there? He's there. That's how people talk, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We
That's
will
the
talk like
wrong
that.
way of using English. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
So is he there in the class? So if somebody asks me, okay, Naveen logged in, is he there in the class still? Yes, he is there in the class still.
Ma'am.
Okay.
Yes,
Now,
ma'am.
is he here? He is here in the class still. I will say he is here in the class still. Okay. Now, they and here are not subjects. You have to look at the other word there, the object. There are two reasons. So why are we using are here? Because of the word reasons. How many reasons are there?
2 reasons.
2 reasons.
Yes, ma'am.
If 2 reasons, then it has to be are.
Are
If it is
plural.
only 1 reason, then it has to be
Is singular.
okay.
Yes, ma'am.
If somebody asks me how many students are there,
Yes, ma'am.
I say there is
Only
1
one.
student.
Yes, ma'am.
So the person does not know, he or she thinks there are multiple students, and he or she asks me how many students are there.
Yes, ma'am.
But I know how many students I have. I have only 1 student. So I say there is only 1 student. I
Artha.
will be using only yes, but the other person will be using are because that person doesn't know.
Yes, ma'am.
He or she is referring to multiple, whereas I'm referring to only 1 person.
Yes, ma'am.
Then the 7th one, works in the present tense for third sentence singular subjects. This is something that we discussed in the beginning of the class, if you remember.
Yes, ma'am.
Naveen writes. Naveen and Praveen write.
Yes, ma'am.
This is something we discussed. Do you want me to discuss that again?
No, ma'am.
Now the same thing has to be maintained even when you ask questions, even in interrogative sentences. Does Naveen write? I cannot say do Naveen write. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
And when you already have does in the sentence, you cannot again say writes. Though it is only 1 person, it has the S form is already there with the helping verb. Therefore, the main verb will not take the S form.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. So let's go to the 8th one. The mayor who has been convicted along with his 4 brothers on 4 counts of various crimes, but who also seems like a cat to have several political lives, is finally going to jail. Now see here, there are so many phrases in this. Okay, now let's talk about the first phrase, the mayor.
Can you tell me when we should have to use this comma?
After every phrase.
Like we have used here after the mayor we have used.
Because the mayor is a phrase. It
Okay.
stops there and then you start describing him.
Okay, ma'am.
Arthita.
Artha ait, ma'am.
So the mayor is the comma
Okay, ma'am.
who has been convicted along with his 4 brothers. Now that is another phrase.
Yes,
Now
ma'am.
here in the second phrase, there are also 4 brothers. The second phrase is plural.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Now let us move on to the third one. On 4 counts of various crimes. Again, that is plural. But who also seems.
Like a cat.
Why are we using seems? Why can't we use seem?
4 people, no, ma'am.
No.
It is a situation.
No. This refers to the previous one. The first thing
Crimes.
see, we are talking only about 1 person, the mayor. We are not talking about anybody else. All the other things are only describing the mayor.
Yes, ma'am.
Arthita.
Yes, ma'am. Various crimes are there, no, ma'am.
If I say, okay,
Yes,
Krishna,
ma'am.
Lord Krishna, okay, with
Yes, ma'am.
4 cows around him,
Yes, ma'am.
okay,
Yes, ma'am.
and 5 pots of uh, butter.
Yes, ma'am.
He is sitting under the tree.
Yes, ma'am.
Why am I not saying are sitting under the tree? I'm talking about 4 cows and 5 pots of butter.
But only Krishna will be sitting on that tree.
It's not.
Yes, ma'am.
The 4 cows and 5 pots of butter are only describing how Krishna is. The
Yes,
same
ma'am.
thing is happening here.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
We are only talking about the mayor, but who also seems.
Yes,
When
ma'am.
it is third person singular, we add s to the verb.
Yes,
Seems,
ma'am.
seems.
Yes, ma'am.
Who also seems like a cat to have several political lives is finally going to the jail,
Yes, ma'am.
right?
Yes, ma'am.
Why we are using the singular verb?
Because it is third person is singular.
Singular, and there is only one person. The mayor
One
is
person.
the only
Yes,
subject.
ma'am. Rest all are describing him.
We are only referring to one person, that is the subject.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, moving on to the ninth one. Sometimes nouns take weird forms and can fool us into thinking they are plural when they are really singular and vice versa. So let's see. Consult the section on the plural forms of nouns. Okay, we can do that later. Now let us say, my glasses were on the bench. My glasses.
Two glasses were there.
Yeah, there
In
are.
in singles. Yes, ma'am.
It's not.
Yes, ma'am.
And then my pants were torn.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that is
Yes, ma'am.
always plural.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, a pair of plaid trousers is okay. We are talking about a pair of trousers. That means
Yes,
two trousers. But
yes,
why
ma'am.
are we saying is?
We are consider it to be single, ma'am. A
No,
pair.
no. I'll give you another example.
Okay, ma'am.
A dozen of biscuits is given to you.
Biscuits.
A packet of biscuits is given to you. What is given to you?
Biscuits.
No.
A pack. A pack of biscuits that forms one single unit.
Is it not?
Yes, ma'am.
Now one pair is given to you.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay?
Yes,
One
ma'am.
pair of plaid trousers is in the closet.
Yes, ma'am.
A bunch of students
Yes, ma'am.
was present in the class.
Yes, ma'am.
A bunch of flowers, okay,
Yes,
cost
ma'am.
rupees 250.
Yes,
Cost.
ma'am.
I'm talking about a bunch of flowers. A bunch is third person singular.
Yes,
It is
ma'am.
not me, it is not you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
A herd of cows
Yes,
is
ma'am.
grazing. We don't say are grazing. But if I say two herds of cows,
Yes,
then
ma'am.
it will be are.
Yes,
If
ma'am.
I say two packets of biscuits, then I say are.
Yes, ma'am.
But if I say one packet of biscuits, then it is.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Okay? Can you
Yes,
make
ma'am.
a couple of sentences?
Yes, ma'am.
Please make.
A group of attackers were attacking a person.
A group of attackers,
Were attacking
where?
a person.
Is it where?
Was.
Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
It can't be where.
Yes,
But if
ma'am.
you say five attackers, you do not say a group of. If you just say
Yes,
five attackers, then it will be were.
yes, ma'am.
Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand the difference?
Yes,
I
ma'am.
want a
Understand.
couple of more sentences like this.
Yes, ma'am. I will tell. A bunch of grapes was tasty.
Okay?
Yes,
Right?
ma'am. Yes,
Good.
ma'am.
Uh, now let's move to the 10th one. Some words end in S. and appear to be plural, but are really singular and require singular verbs. News,
Yes, ma'am.
measles. Okay, the
Yes,
news
ma'am.
from the front is bad, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And measles is a dangerous disease.
Yes, ma'am.
On the other hand, some words ending in S refer to a single thing but are nonetheless plural and require a plural verb. My assets were. The average worker's earnings have. Our thanks go. We don't say our thanks goes. We say our thanks go because they all are plural.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay? Keep this
Yes,
in
ma'am.
mind. If you need to make note of it, please make note of it.
Yes, ma'am. Wrote, ma'am.
Now, when I say this class dash 50 students, should it be has or have?
As.
Okay, because we are not referring to students, we are referring to the class, which is only one.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, yeah, would you like to go through the ones that you have learned again so that we'll see if you have any doubt? We'll start here.
Roll it, ma'am.
Done?
Yes, ma'am.
Huh.
Scroll it, ma'am. Examples for modifiers, ma'am.
Sometimes modifiers will get between a subject and its verb, but these modifiers must not confuse the agreement. Okay. Modifier means the phrase or something that describes the subject. I told you, no, Lord Krishna
Okay, ma'am.
with cows. So that is modifying Krishna.
Yes, ma'am. Scroll it, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
We are left with the last two.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes,
Now,
ma'am.
fractional expressions such as half of, a part of, a percentage of, a majority of are sometimes singular and sometimes plural, depending on the meaning. The
Yes,
same
ma'am.
is true, of course, when all, any, more, most, and some act as subjects. See, you remember this? Some of the beads are missing,
Yes, ma'am.
but some water is gone.
Yes, ma'am.
Same. Okay. Sums and products of mathematical processes are expressed as singular and require singular verbs. The
Yes, ma'am.
expression more than one takes a singular verb. More than one student has tried this.
Yes,
We don't know whether it is 2 or 10. So we will take it singular.
yes, ma'am.
Some of the voters are still angry. This is like the beads.
Yes, ma'am.
We are referring to multiple voters, and out of them, some. So we don't know what the number is. So we will assume that to be plural.
Yes, ma'am.
Then a large percentage of the older population is voting against her. Now we are talking about percentage as one entity. That is why we say is. A large portion of it. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
2/5 of the troops were lost in the battle. Now explain to me why we are using a plural verb here. 2/5 of the troops were.
Plural, no.
Why plural? Now the troops are
Two
divided into
fifth.
5 parts,
Yes, ma'am.
and out of the 2 parts were lost.
Yes, ma'am. That becomes plural.
Is it not?
Yes, ma'am.
But in the previous one, we exactly do not know the percentage, and we say a large percentage.
Yes, ma'am.
So that is singular there.
Yes,
Now,
ma'am.
2/5 of the vineyard was destroyed by fire.
Yes, ma'am.
Uncountable.
Yes, ma'am.
40% of the students are in favor of changing the policy. Look at the difference between the next two sentences. 40% of the students are. You know what is the number of students, and
Yes, ma'am.
40% of them. That means you also know that number.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, 40% of the student body.
It forms single student body, like a pack of biscuits.
Yes, exactly. 2 and 2 is 4. This is an odd rule that you need to remember.
Yes, ma'am.
2 and 2 are 4. 4 times 4 divided by 2 is 8. Because here we are talking about 4 and 8, and that is why it is. It is not 2 and 2.
Yes, ma'am.
Last one. If your sentence compounds a positive and a negative subject, and one is plural, the other one is singular, the verb should agree with the positive subject. Now, in the
Positive and negative subject, ma'am.
in the previous one, where there was a singular and plural in the same sentence, we looked at the proximity
Yes, ma'am.
previously.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
now here we look at the positive subject or the negative subject. So let's see the department members, but not the chair, have decided not to teach on Valentine's Day. Okay, don't laugh at the meaning. Look at the sentence formation.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now the department members are on one side, and then the chairperson
Chair.
is on the other side. Chair means chairperson here.
Chairperson. Yes, ma'am.
It is not Kuchi.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Understood.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
The department members is plural. Chairperson is singular. One subject has done the job, one subject has not.
Yes,
Who
ma'am.
has not done?
Yes, ma'am.
Who has not done?
Chair.
Chair has not
Chairperson.
done, so that is a negative subject.
Yes, ma'am.
Who has done?
Positive.
Members have done. So that is positive.
Yes, ma'am.
Therefore, we say have.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Understood, ma'am.
We do not say has.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's move on to the next one. It is not the faculty members, but the president who decides this issue. Who takes the decision?
President.
Who does not take the decision?
Faculty members.
Who do not? Then I have to say who do not if it is members. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So which is the positive subject here?
President, ma'am.
President is singular or plural?
Singular, ma'am.
So that is why we say decides.
Decide. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Third
Yes.
party, third person, singular, verb should have S with it.
Yes,
The
ma'am.
first thing we learned when we started the class at 3 o'clock.
Yes, ma'am.
Naveen writes.
Right.
Remember,
Yes, ma'am.
it was the speaker, not his ideas, that has provoked the students to write.
They are talking about speaker, singular person, and students on the other side. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Hope
Yes,
you have understood all these things. Can you come
Yes,
out with
ma'am.
a couple of sentences on your own for this?
Yes, ma'am.
Please do. Right.
Shall I tell, ma'am?
Mm.
It was not the leader, but the team players who were responsible for losing the game.
Very good. Next.
I wrote only one sentence.
Fine. Right now, I want to talk about something else. Subject verb agreement is done.
Yes,
Now,
ma'am.
I want to talk about something else. This is about the common mistakes, the common errors that all of us commit. Okay? One such mistake is when we talk negative sentences in past tense. Past tense, negative.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you have English class yesterday?
Yes.
Did you have English class on Sunday?
No.
So how do you make it into a sentence?
No, I did not have English classes on Sunday.
Some people say, no, I did not had. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you eat your lunch today?
Yes, I had my lunch today.
If you had not eaten your lunch, what would you say?
No, I didn't have my lunch today.
Is it not? You will not say, I had not
Yeah, yes,
ate.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
This is one common mistake I come across.
Yes, ma'am.
This is one thing that people have to keep in mind.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, what other things would you like to discuss?
Ma'am,
Uh,
conjunction and interjection, ma'am. Teach me this preposition and conjunction.
See, preposition is something that is between two words.
Between two words in the sense, ma'am, like example you
It
give.
joins two words.
Joining two words. Preposition.
For example, my phone and the charger.
Yes, ma'am.
Or okay,
Yes,
but,
ma'am.
but my phone is on the table.
Yes, ma'am. In this, ma'am, my phone and charger are not working. This is the example, ma'am. In this, which one is preposition, ma'am?
See, this and can be preposition sometimes, but it is mostly conjunction.
Okay, ma'am.
See, this conjunction is something that adds, that joins two sentences or one sentence in one phrase or one sentence in one clause or two clauses.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
That is the difference.
Okay.
For example, I say I'm sitting below the fan. If the fan here go, I say I'm sitting below the fan. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
That is preposition.
Yes, ma'am. That's it, ma'am.
That's,
Yes, ma'am.
you need to look at all these things in a detailed fashion, right? There are
Yes,
many
ma'am.
books available. I always, of course, CAT, I don't know which are the books available in the market.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
Okay, so we cannot close the class here. I think we have another 20 minutes to go.
Yes, ma'am.
So is there something that you would like to discuss?
No, ma'am. That's it, ma'am.
No, we cannot close the class now. We have to do something else. Let's see. Let's go through this word order in declarative statements. Okay. Let's go through this. Wait, I'll start sharing my screen. Hold on. There is one thing that I have to tell you when we use prepositions, okay? Now I was talking about these common mistakes, right?
Yes,
So there
ma'am.
is one more mistake that I've come across is some people say, I'm going for Hosur. I'm going for Mysore. And I say that is wrong.
Going to Mysore.
Going to Mysore.
Yes,
When it
ma'am.
is a place, you use to, and when it is a purpose, you use for.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to school for a class.
Yes,
I'm going to Mysore for a function.
yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Hmm. So read this. Wherever you have doubt, you can ask me. Usually, in is used for a larger area and at is used for a smaller area. For example, you can say, I'm in Bangalore at home.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm at my house. I'm in my house at my room.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm in the room at my table.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand the difference?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm in India,
Yes, ma'am.
in Karnataka, in
Yes,
Bangalore, at home.
yes, ma'am.
Hmm. Now, see here. Let us go on learning this. Let us do this because you spoke about prepositions. Let us use this. Okay.
Yes,
Room, building. Okay. When do we use in? When we talk about room, building, street, town, country, book, paper, etc. Car, taxi. Aha, this is one more thing. I'm. When do you say on? And when do you say in? When it comes to, vehicles.
for time we will use on.
For train, you use on.
Yes, ma'am. For time.
See, I'm on the train. You don't
Yes,
say
ma'am.
I'm in the train.
Yes, ma'am. I am in
Okay.
the train.
No, you don't say in the train. You say I'm in the car, but I'm on the train. I'm on a train to Mumbai. I'm on a plane to Mumbai.
Why, ma'am? Like
That
that.
is how it is.
Okay. Okay, ma'am.
I'm sitting on a
Yes, ma'am.
stool. I'm sitting in a chair.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So all these things are very, very important. You have to keep them in mind. Okay.
Yes.
Now see here. On is used for public transport, on the bus, on a plane.
Okay, ma'am.
Athaita, see, the examples are also given here.
Ma'am, it has not opened, ma'am, for me.
It is not showing.
No.
I shared the screen with you. Let me share it again. Does it show?
No, ma'am. It's only showing that folder, ma'am.
Wait,
Preposition,
wait, wait,
RC
wait, wait.
blockers like
One
that.
second, 1 second. Give me a second. Hmm. Okay, now it should show. Fine. Can you see?
Yes, ma'am.
Hmm. So the class goes on till 5 o'clock, right? Okay. So when do we use in? We use room, building, street, town, country, in the kitchen, in London, in the book, in the car, in a taxi, in the picture, in the world. Okay. At meaning next to, by an object. At means you're next to something. You're very close to something.
And out.
Ah,
Ma'am, suppose for United States, I am in United States or I am in the United States.
see, when you say United States, United Kingdom, then you have to use the, because you are talking about United States. Is it the United States of India or United States of America? Or is it some states, so, states from India, some states from Pakistan, some states from America? No, you are referring to some particular states,
Okay, ma'am.
definite states.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. So
Okay, ma'am.
the Caribbean islands. Why do you say the Caribbean islands?
Because it's one single island.
No, no, no. There are many islands.
Okay, okay, ma'am.
The Caribbean islands. You are not talking about, the islands that are around India. You are not talking about Andaman and Nicobar.
Yes, ma'am.
You are
Okay.
talking about the Caribbean islands. Okay.
Okay,
But
ma'am.
when you talk about India, you cannot say the India.
Yes.
The United States, the United Kingdom, the UK, the US, the USSR. Of course, you haven't seen USSR, we have seen USSR.
Okay, ma'am.
Go through.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Going. Ma'am, next to and beside both are same, ma'am.
Almost.
Okay.
I'm standing by the table. I'm sitting by the desk. Sitting beside the desk.
Yes,
Sitting
ma'am.
next to the desk.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, in the center, in this sentence, ma'am, below, the fish are below the surface, it is given. The fish is below the surface. Ma'am.
Okay.
One fish.
Now see, look here. When there are many fish that belong to the same variety, you
Yes,
say
ma'am.
fish are. There are 3 golden fish in my aquarium. But when you have 3 golden fish or 1 golden fish, 1 silver fish, 1 ray fish, then I say there are 3 fishes.
Okay, ma'am.
When they are of the same variety, you say fish, but it still is plural.
Okay, ma'am.
And never make the mistake of saying hairs. Somebody has hairs, white hairs. That is wrong.
Yes, ma'am.
It is black hair, white, gray hair. Understand?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, put a jacket over your shirt is there, no, ma'am? Can't we tell put a jacket on your shirt?
No, it has to be over. Covered by something else. Then you say over. I prefer you take a picture of all this. That is going to help you.
You share of this document in WhatsApp.
I'll do that.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, both subject verb agreement and this.
Yes, ma'am.
Why do you say share off? That's colloquial.
Yes, ma'am. So the correct sentence is you can share the document on WhatsApp.
You can say, ma'am, I request you to please share the document on WhatsApp.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, ma'am. I'm scroll.
Across is getting to the other side, getting to the other, say, for example, my house is across the road.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Walk across the bridge.
Yes, ma'am.
Sail across the river.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's have a discussion over coffee across the table. No. Through a something with limits on top, bottom, and sides. Drive through a tunnel.
Yes, ma'am.
Drive in a tunnel, alla, drive through a tunnel. Okay?
Okay. Ma'am, can you teach me office etiquette, ma'am?
You want me to teach you office etiquette? I can teach you, but not in this forum. Okay? This is for a different purpose. When you come back to college, you come and meet me, I'll teach.
Yes, ma'am. Like I got placed in Capgemini company. So in few months, I think we'll be going for training. So how we should be in that office campus like that?
How should I be? Why do you say how we should be? It is
I
an
mean, I am including my friends also.
So you say, how should we be?
Okay.
See, an interrogative sentence pattern is different from an assertive sentence pattern.
Yes, ma'am.
Have you attended all the 32 sessions?
Yes, ma'am.
This is the 32nd session. So, you can write a thank you note in the chat box or in the email or in the WhatsApp group, you can write.
Yes, ma'am.
The HOD and to the college, HODIS, college principal, all this you can write.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah?
I'll write, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I'll write, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
Now, coming Sunday is the exam, ma'am.
Okay.
CAT exam.
All the best.
Yes, ma'am.
See, one thing, one area of improvement for you is your spoken English, and you need to observe people when they talk, and you need to think about it. You need to reflect why a word was used in a particular place and why it was not used.
Yes, ma'am.
So that is when you will understand. You will get to know how to frame proper English sentences. Some people say need not to. That is wrong. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
You need not do. That's all. Need not to do is wrong.
Scroll down, ma'am.
I'll meet you on Monday. The exam is on Sunday. In August, in winter, we don't say on August.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, for a day it is on. But for
Yes,
a month or a week, it will be in.
In.
Time of the day in the morning.
Yes, ma'am. For all chronological thing, we should use in.
See, it is for the time. When you look at time, month, seasons, time of the day, year, after a certain period of time, then you see say in. But you're referring to one day, then that is on 25th or on Monday.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. For seasons, ma'am.
In winter.
Okay, okay. In only. Yes, ma'am.
In summer.
Yes, ma'am.
The skin becomes dry in winter.
Yes, ma'am.
So I have to mark here, sir. Can I have a pen, please? Okay, the since and from are two things that you need to learn properly. Since 1980, from a certain point of time, then you use since. But when you are referring to a duration, say from 4 years,
Okay, ma'am.
so you're not referring to a certain point of time there.
Can I say that for a shorter period of time we can use for, and for longer period of time since we can use?
No, it is not like that. See, I am sitting in the class since 3 o'clock.
Yes,
From a particular point of time. Class for 2 hours now.
yes, ma'am.
Do you understand?
Yes,
When
ma'am.
we are
Yes, ma'am.
talking about the duration, it is for.
Yes, ma'am.
When you are talking about one particular point from which you started, that becomes since.
Since. Okay, ma'am.
We normally see English people do not normally say it is 5:50. They say 10 to 6.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, understood.
Mhm.
For 6 o'clock, 10 minutes is there. Like that.
Then 10 past 6. It is not 6:10. It is 10 past.
Yes, ma'am. 6.
And you're not supposed to say 12 p.m. and 12 a.m. There's nothing as such.
Okay.
12 midnight and 12 noon.
Okay, okay.
And you cannot say today evening. That is wrong. You have to say this evening.
Okay, ma'am.
You cannot say today night. You have to say tonight.
Yes, ma'am.
And tomorrow morning, when you say last evening, it was raining. You will not say yesterday evening.
Yes, ma'am.
You will not say yesterday night. Day is different, night is different.
Yes, ma'am.
ನೆನ್ನೆ ಹಗಲು ರಾತ್ರಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ನಿನ್ನೆ ರಾತ್ರಿ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಸೊ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ನೈಟ್
Yes, ma'am.
okay
Yes, ma'am.
last evening, last night, this evening, tonight. That is how you have to speak.
Yes, ma'am.
So this session was useful to you.
Yes, ma'am. It's useful, ma'am.
And then see this, I will also give you another difference. When we used to say, for example, 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock, okay? Then
Yes,
I
ma'am.
say from 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock, we both did SVA. Naveen and Sunita learned SVA. Okay. But
Yes.
when we say Naveen and Sunita had an SVA class between 3 o'clock and 5 o'clock. When you
Yes,
say
ma'am.
between, it has to be and.
Yes, ma'am.
Between 3 o'clock and 5 o'clock.
Okay,
But
ma'am.
when you
Okay,
say
ma'am.
from, it has to be to.
Yes, ma'am.
You have to be very careful in using those prepositions.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you can make a note of all that.
Yes,
From
ma'am.
3 o'clock to 5 o'clock.
Yes, ma'am.
Between 3 and 5 p.m.
Yes, ma'am.
You cannot say between 3 to 5 p.m. No. When you say between, it has to be and.
Yes, ma'am. Understood, ma'am.
So any doubts so far? I'm closing.
No doubts, ma'am.
No doubt?
No doubt, ma'am.
Was this useful?
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely useful, ma'am.
But this is really not going to help you if you do not practice all these things.
Yes, ma'am.
Whatever you have learned, you have to make a conscious effort to practice.
Yes, ma'am.
Whenever you speak, okay, Sunita madam told me not to use something. Oh, let me not use it. When
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
asking a question, let me ask properly. He's there, no. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
The college is there tomorrow. People ask that, no, college will be there. College cannot run away.
Yes, ma'am.
We have classes tomorrow. That's how you are.
Yes, ma'am.
Understand?
Yes, ma'am.
So you asked me about corporate etiquette. One of
Yes.
the corporate etiquettes is to form proper sentences and speak properly. Not the way you always spoke to your friends. Your friends are different. Now we are getting into a corporate. You better learn to ask proper questions. You always answer in a sentence. Do not answer in one word. These are
Yes,
certain
ma'am.
things which refer to both English as well as corporate etiquette. Okay, right?
Okay, ma'am.
Shall we call it a day?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much for being in the class. Don't
Thank you, ma'am.
forget,
Thank you for teaching me, ma'am.
thank you. Don't forget to write in the group a thank you note, or you
Yes,
can
ma'am.
also write an email. Please
Yes.
address it to the HODIS and then the principal of NHCE. Please also thank the college. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Have
Okay,
a
ma'am.
nice evening. See you again. Bye bye. All the best.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.